I'm here with Mike Sprayberry, and he is the Director of North Carolina Emergency Management since 2013. And I have a few questions about climate change and global warming. So my first question is, what is climate change and global warming? And some people don't believe it's happening, but is it truly happening?
Well, that's a good question, and you're right, some people don't believe it's happening. We do believe that it's happening because obviously we see glaciers at both ends of the earth that are melting, and we believe that over time we're going to see, it's been predicted between 3.5 to 6 feet of sea level rise by 2100. As global warming takes place, it will actually could cause the spread of disease because insects that are typically live in warm weather, they'll be able to go farther north, and for instance like the Zika virus, and you could have that all over. So lots of different issues with global warming and climate change. One of the things that you're going to have to do if you're going to continue to allow people to build infrastructure at the coast and in places where there's flooding, you're going to have more and more response resources like swiftwater rescue teams, critical disaster medical surge teams, and things like that.
Has North Carolina made any laws or restrictions regarding climate change and global warming?
No, I mean, that's, it's just the truth, not that I know of. And so there's actually islands out there throughout the world that are already close to sea level. And then now with sea level rise, they're seeing more and more water come across their, into their cities and towns. In places like Venice, Italy, that always have had some flooding, now the flooding is getting worse and worse. So, it's evident all over the world that, you're seeing more and more flooding caused by sea level rise. And I think we know that it's happening, it's just difficult to predict basically, how much it's going to be by whatever year. When you look at places like the Outer Banks, they're already pretty close to sea level, and when you look at a place like New Orleans, it's below sea level. So what are you going to do? How are you going to fix it? Animals and birds, insects and stuff. With climate change, and as it gets warmer, you'll see, plants and things and animals. Their ranges, they'll keep moving northward because the earth will be warming, and so it's going to create issues with agriculture. It'll create issues with drought and water availability. Water is going to be, water's already like worth gold in a lot of places anyway, so it'll become ever more valuable. So it could affect the food supply. It's going to affect where people live and how they live. What's going to happen to a place like New York City or Houston, all these big port cities where millions of people live. That's the long-term effects. Where do they go? How are they going to change their lifestyles? Because they'll, might not happen in my lifetime and maybe not in yours, but when you start looking at 2100, 2200, a lot of the places that we're looking at that are located at the coast are liable to be underwater. But, so we have drought, we experience some severe weather like hurricanes, severe weather like winter storms. It's just happening more frequently.
Alright, what are some solutions that we can possibly use to stop or decrease the effect of climate change and global warming?
So I think we need to look at clean energy, and that's one of the things that people talk about by using wind farms and solar energy and things like that. I think we need to search for alternative forms of energy besides fossil fuels like petroleum. But there's going to have to be a lot of sacrifices by a lot of people in order to make something like that work.
Alright. Has climate change and global warming affected recent event? Well, I know the recent wildfires have been affected by it, but has it affected events like Hurricane Matthew and Superstorm Sandy?
I think that, what the scientists say and the climatologists say is that we are experiencing more severe weather than we ever experienced. Now, there's some disagreement on that, as I'm sure you're well aware of. And as the emergency management director, I pretty much, I try not to worry about too much about why it's happening. I just worry about how can we be prepared for it.
All right. How could people like you and I keep our homes more environmentally friendly?
You can start off by doing simple things like, you're making sure you got lights that you're not using turned off. I think that you keep your heat and air conditioning at acceptable levels. I've got to have my heat and I've got to have my air conditioning, so I'm not proposing that we get rid of it. But you could drive a more environmentally friendly car. Again, I violate that every day. I've got 2 SUVs, but there's lots of ways that you can do it. You just have to be cognizant of it and make a commitment to it.